welcome to Friday Nights with Emma. I'll let everybody, give everybody a minute or two to join. Give us a little thumbs up, little heart, even. Let us know you're there. Mikey's on camera tonight. Link is on his blankie. He will probably be over at some point. Just let us know you're there when you're there. There he is. There's my boy. There's Mama's Kit Kat.
Careful, Link.
There's my boy.
Claudia.
Oh, hi Claudia.
Terry.
Hi Terry.
Margaret.
Hi Margaret.
Diamond from Edinburgh.
Hi Sean. Oh,
Elaine.
Diamond from Edinburgh.
Mm-hmm. Catherine.
Oh yeah.
Diana from West Cumbria. Karen. Karen says good evening, Link.
Hi Karen.
Cheryl.
Hi, Link.
Lorna.
Hi Cheryl. Hi Lorna.
Diamond says Link is looking gorgeous. Yours, Sarah.
Hello Sarah.
Barbara.
Hi Barbara.
Annette.
Hi Annette.
Lorraine.
Hi Lorraine.
Haley.
Hi Haley. As promised, I'm doing hand quilting today. So I will go through everything. But Bailey's tonight. Well, Michael's probably wondering where I got it from.
I am actually.
Secret stash. Link, you're gonna have to shift.
Jackie.
Hi Jackie.
Jane.
Hi Jane. Come on Link, you're gonna have to move. Come on. Yes, my boy. Come on, you're gonna have to move you. Come on. Go in you. There you go.
Sandy.
Hi Sandy.
Diamond says if I just said Diamond, you would have just said hi, Shirley. I think Edinburgh threw you.
It did throw me.
Ross.
Hi Ross.
Joanne and
Hi,
Maureen.
Hi Joe. Hi Maureen. Yeah, hand quilting. So I'll start by showing you. I've kind of started on it, but I'm going to go over what I did. So I literally have just got a square of calico, muslin as they call it in the US, some cotton wadding. I think this is actually bamboo.
Anne says your rag quilt demo inspired me to make one using two Japanese fabric charm packs and brushed cotton. Now at snipping stage, and I love it. Thank you.
Oh yeah, oh you're welcome. I bet that is gorgeous. You're gonna love it. As you wash it, tumble dry it, you're gonna love it. Just keep it away from your pets because you might not be able to use it again. Because they'll claim it for their own, like Link did. Right, so muslin, calico. You can use any plain, or actually anything you want. And then my back, which is the same. So I've got all my 3 layers. Now I cheat because, as you can see, especially if you iron it, this the cotton wadding sticks to the top quite well. So I don't tend to baste.
Anne says no pets, so all mine.
Oh,
Lolly
nice.
says good evening from very cold market deeping.
Oh,
Boiler has broken since
no.
New Year, so glad I'm a quilter cuddling up under
yeah,
my quilts.
you're gonna need it. Yeah, it is not warm.
Anne is watching.
Hi Anne.
Caroline says she loves your rainbow top.
Oh, thank you.
And your Sarah says she's made 2 rag quilts now
Yay.
for the girls.
Yay.
And Susan is watching.
Hi Susan. Yeah, I love a rag quilt. Right, so I've got my layering up. Before I did that, and you don't have to do this, but this is an option. There are things you can get which are templates, quilting templates. So this one is one that you would use in a border. This one is the block that I'm doing at the moment. And you just lay it down and you just draw in the lines basically with any kind of water removable marker, if I put it that way, because I've actually used friction pen on here only because this is just going to be a cushion or a demonstration and I'm not too bothered about it coming back out again. But you could use, I use a light pencil on my other one, or a water-soluble pencil works really well, especially if you're going to do it on a quilt. But anything that you know you're happy with using on fabric and is going to come out. And this is another one I've got. So quilting stencils, if you want to do something interesting.
Karen says, finished another UFO today.
Oh yay!
That was a television series, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Doing a bit of embroidery while watching you. Perfect Friday evening.
Nice, yeah. It's going to be a lot of hand doing tonight.
I think it was a Jerry Anderson one, wasn't it? UFO. I think I have those on DVD.
What don't you have on DVD?
Mm.
So there's two ways of doing this bit. I've always used a hoop. Now you can get traditional hoops, which are literally just a big wooden hoop. It's like a beefed up version of an embroidery hoop. They're quite a bit wider and larger, and the screw on them is about that long.
Diamond says UFO, one of the worst series ever.
Oh.
That wasn't that bad. It had a charm. Christine is watching.
Hi Christine. But I like to use these square hoops. They're tubes basically. Michael got me this one. My love got me this one. And he reminds me every time I use it.
Mm.
Best thing he ever bought me actually. So if I take it completely apart, you can see, oh, because this is how they come, is apart in pieces.
Dawn is watching.
Oh. Hi Dawn.
Claudia says, I'm doing the Storytime quilt and had it on my table when I came back after with my grandsons, thinking the pics are all pretty cute. They looked at it, 5 and 7-year-olds, and said the eyes and mouths made them all creepy and no way to change their minds.
Oh.
Christine says, can you buy the frame?
Yes. Now, I think I have some in stock at the shop, but I'm not entirely sure. It's not exactly this size. I think it's 12 by 17, so it's more of a rectangle. But I'll have a look. But yeah, it's if you look for hand quilting frame, this is what they are. And so they come apart. You'll get them literally as tubes, and then you fit it together yourself. And then what you do is put it underneath. This is what I love about these frames, is that they're so easy to move.
Mm.
And
Indeed.
then you just hook up the
Yep.
top.
And it keeps a constant tension. Yes. Mandy says, I've got those frames. They're brilliant.
Yeah.
I've had mine years. Got all sizes the company did back then.
Yeah, and they're good for if you've got a large embroidery too.
Yes. Yes. Multifaceted tool. The right tool for the right job.
Well, it's
Joanne has posted the link.
Oh, bless you. Thank you, Joanne. Now, if you'll see, while I'm putting it on, I'm trying to make sure that my top and bottom fabric have even tension.
Claudia said, never managed to get the rectangle on my quilt, so I did it just laying over my hand.
Oh, yes, that's the other way. So a lot of people that I know actually have never used a frame and can't get on with them. I think it's what you sort of learn with and what works best for you. I can't do it without a frame, because if I do, then my back gets all out of order.
Annette says, I use mine for cross stitch.
Oh, yeah, cross stitch is a
and
good one.
Christine says, do you mark the back of the quilts?
I don't. I only mark the front.
And you can't see the front right now.
Because, yeah, so that's the front.
That is the front.
This is the back.
That is the back.
You can see some of my stitches through already.
Mm.
Link, you're not helping.
There he goes.
Right, so thimble, definitely. Find the right one that you like. I have used this one.
Joanne says, I had one and it was a bit aggressive. So I used a thick towel instead of a quilt
Yes.
for a while, so it's now better. I think it stretched it a bit and made it easier to use.
Was that Dawn you said?
Joanne.
Joanne. Oh, hi, Joanne. Yes, Dawn did that trick as well. So yes, these parts that you snap over the top can be a little bit tight. That's what she means by aggressive. So you can loosen them up a little bit by, before you actually use it on your quilt, put a thick towel in the frame and then snap it all on, so that they sort of loosen up and stretch a little bit.
A quick what? What did you say? A quick what? Margaret says Chief Inspector has arrived. Christine says, sorry I missed the beginning, but can I buy the template, please? We think they're in your shop.
The hoops are, yeah, the templates.
Oh, the templates, sorry.
Yeah,
yes,
templates
correct.
I don't do. But you can find them online. Actually, these ones, I have to admit, the choice in England does seem to be a little bit limited, because I did kind of cheat the last time I was in America.
Well, surely you can make your own templates. All that is.
Yeah, I have made my own actually. The one that I used for your quilt, I made myself, designed myself. So you can make your own, but I did get all these from America. But you can find some in the UK.
Nan says, hello everyone, I love hand quilting but can't manage a hoop.
Oh, yeah, see, a lot of people that I know can't. So...
And Margaret says, Link, the inspector of quilts.
Ah, okay. It clicked. Penny dropped. Thanks. Usually, so this is the first time I'm using this thread, which is a perlé. Thicker than I normally use. And more more fray. Yeah, so it actually hasn't been too bad. But definitely more obvious, thicker. I'm using a thin cruel needle on this one, but what I normally use are hand quilting threads, cotton. So this is really nice. When it says machine quilting on the top, but it's a YLI cotton, and it's, if I show you, if I take a bit off, they have some really lovely, as you can see, variegated colours. It's thicker, and it takes a bit to break, which is what you want. What I have also done to make it even stronger, because you do want hand quilting thread to be quite strong, is run it through some beeswax. That will not only coat it and protect it from fraying, but it will also keep the thread from tangling up.
Julie is watching.
Oh, hi Julie. And then the other one I like to use, it's a Gutermann, 100% cotton, quilting. It just says quilting thread. If you search for hand quilting, and I do have some of these, I think, in the shop. Maybe. You can see as it comes off, it's a little bit, maybe, it's thicker than normal sort of sewing thread, machine sewing thread, that is.
Jackie says, she uses her frame for X stitch, and when I have to put it over an area, cross stitch, sorry. And when I had to put it over an area I've worked, I put a handkerchief between work and grip strip.
That's a very good idea to protect that bit, yeah. Oh, yay. Oh, yeah, let's try this one. This one is strong because this is proper hand quilting thread. There, it took a while. I did cut in a little bit. So that is, you want a good strong thread for hand quilting. One, because it's only one thread. It's the only thread keeping your quilt together. And two, because you want it to be able to resist fraying when in the eye of the needle. So that's the thread. Needles, I use, and this is personal preference, when I use these threads, I use sharps. A lot of people use quilting needles, which are betweens, but I find those a bit too short. So it's a case of playing around, finding what works for you.
Christine says, I bought some old quilting magazines, and inside there are a few paper templates, so I should be able to transfer them onto the quilt, but I just thought it would be easier to buy them ready-made.
Yeah, the stencils are quite nice. I've got quite a few sort of collected, and I'll show you my quilt that's behind me because that's all hand quilted. And if you get different sizes, especially in the borders, it's really handy.
Joanne says I use Gutermann hand quilting thread. It seems to go through the fabric more smoothly.
Yes, it is nice. It is my favourite, I would say.
And Dawn says Gutermann one is fab to use.
Yeah. Thanks.
And Diana asks, what gauge is the Perla, please?
Number 12, it says.
Perle.
This is the first time that I've used this. So yeah, I don't know if you'll be able to have a look on there.
No, it's
Not focusing.
what am I? It says it's a number 12.
Yeah.
Textile 94.
So I think with this normally you'd be able to do larger stitches because I'm quite used to doing it.
Oh, there you go. That might
That's the one.
do it. That's the way to do it. Oh, there you go.
Right, so usually I would start in the middle if I'm doing a quilt, start in the middle block. Now when I say start in the middle, I mean that's where you position your hoop. Well, I'm actually going to start just a good starting point that makes sense for you. So what I'm going to do, because I want to make the most of my thread without having to rethread it, is I'm going to start here and then I'm going to go up this line, down that line, across here, down there and there. That'll be the plan. There's no right or wrong way, just whichever order makes it easier for you. I try to limit how many times I have to put a new thread on, so tie it off and put a new one on. Oh, I forgot to show you that bit. I'll show you on the next bit. But what I've done, I've put a little knot right at the end of the thread, and I basically pulled it up through so that it is inside the sandwich and you can't see the knots on the back. And then this is just a case of working out how it works best for you. But
Diamond says my camera skills are improving, just need to improve my sewing now. Claudia says I've tried cotton Perle 8 for the first attempt on the last quilt, but I would love to try the thinner Perle next time.
It seems to be good. So what I'm doing is I'm using my thimble. See, that's why I said last week you need a rim around the edge, because you're catching the end of the needle. I'm basically pushing it with my thimble, and that's why a thimble is really important. So if I start that again, I've got my finger underneath, so I'm pushing up underneath with my finger, middle one, or actually yeah, index or middle. They get calloused eventually, but so I'm pushing up with that finger because what I want to do is feel, I'm literally just feeling for the tip of that needle, and then I'm using my finger to push the tip of the needle back up through all the layers as I'm pushing with my finger the needle forward. And I'm just pushing it. The goal is, it doesn't matter about the size of your stitches, just try to get them even so that they're all even lengths.
Judith says it seems the same kind of logic as shishiko?
Yes.
As far as working out which way to stitch.
Yes.
Or is
yes.
There's that sashiko.
Yeah, I don't know. There is a right way and a wrong way, but as my botany teacher said, if you say it quick and with confidence.
That's how I get through life.
Yeah. So I'm just rocking my needle, literally rocking my needle up and down with this finger, and I'm using my middle finger underneath to feel for that point so that it doesn't come through too far, and to help push it back up. And I usually do about 3 stitches, no more, although I have been getting 4 with this larger needle and slightly thicker thread than I normally do.
Joanne says this is a great demo, thank you both. Twanging the knots in between layers took some practice for her.
Yeah.
I've had to try twanging on a scrap layer first so I didn't catch the grain of the fabric on the front. Hope that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to try it before. And literally what I've stitched right here is literally what I just did this evening before coming on camera. So what I'm going to try and do is get it so I've got enough stitched that I can use the iron to, because this is friction pen, take away the friction pen.
Judith says hers often seems to come out slanted on the back. Can you think why?
Slanted on the back.
Yes.
I'm not entirely sure what you mean by slanted on the back, but
You have a picture?
I don't worry too much about what it looks on the back as far as the stitch size, because it's impossible to get the stitches even top and bottom. I mean, it's just by, I'm just gauging how far the needle has come through just by the feeling it with my finger. So and I've been doing this for 25 years now, so it is literally just practice. If you can send me a picture though of what you mean by slanted on the back, I might be able to help you.
Judith says it looks perfect to me.
Oh, thank you.
And Christine says, I've been waiting all week for your demonstration. Thank you. It's great watching.
Oh, you're welcome. I do love hand quilting, and I'll have to admit, I'm trying to sit up properly, but it does tax the shoulders, at least for me, because I don't have very good posture anyway.
Anne says her back stitches are always smaller than the front.
Yeah, mine are.
Joanne says hers used to look weird on the back. Wondered if it was because I found the rocking tricky and was more of a cross stitcher before, so I took up more
a stabby.
up and down in quotations approach.
Yeah, what I call the stabby.
That's Habu's word.
Yeah, stabby. When you do the stabbing way, which is literally taking it down, all the way down, and then back up again, it does make it hard to get a straight line on the back, because you will find they go a little bit all over the place. Even if you are literally coming straight up through your marked line, it won't always be directly on top. See what I mean?
Joanne said I was going to say stabby, but didn't know if you understood.
We know exactly what stabby means in this house. Actually, I did see a cross stitch. It doesn't make you laugh, Michael. Somebody had written in cross stitch something along the lines of, "Be careful, this is proof that I can stab something like 1,000 times." Or have the patience to stab something 1,000 times.
Judith says, I think I'm stabby then.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if you can get running stitch, it does keep them in line a little bit better. It is easier.
Annette says, you make it look so easy. Her stitches on the back are also slanted.
Oh, okay.
Joanne says, with practice, hers is getting more and more rocky and even approach.
Yeah, it is literally just practice. And that's why I like these little projects like this, because even if you did one little block, so one thing is easier, it's a lot easier to manage than a whole quilt. It's not as heavy.
No.
Plus, if you trim them down, you can actually use the treat it as a quilt as you go block. So attach them together with just sashing, which I'll show you on Sunday how to do that.
Margaret says, wish her stitches were so neat and even. It also helps the little frame too.
Yeah, I couldn't do this without a frame.
No.
Although I have seen people do beautiful stitches without it, but for me, I just need it.
Yeah. Listen to me now and believe me later.
Yeah, all of my quilts.
That was from Joanne's, wasn't it?
I think it probably was.
Yeah. Jackie says, what time Sunday?
Oh, definitely probably 9 and 11. I don't remember which one is which. So I'm going to be doing the Quilt As You Go, June Taylor wadding Quilt As You Go, and the paw tracks pattern, which is the bear paw quilt, which came out really nice.
Judith says, I think she thinks another one of her faults may be that she pulls the fabric too tight on the frame.
Oh yes, so I do have, you can see, there's a bit of pounce in there. There's a bit of give. It's not super tight. And also, what I like about this is that you can, just by twisting these bits, you can make it tighter or less tight. Probably doesn't matter if it's quite tight, because I used to do that as well. The big thing is making sure that it's even, that your tension is relatively even, top and bottom, so that your fabric, you don't have one top fabric or your bottom fabric tighter than the other. And don't pull the thread too tight either.
Nan asks, is the rectangular frame easier to manage than the circular one?
The circular one, as far as to quilt with it, it was about the same, I would say. I do like this is a bit smaller than, well, you can get different size, obviously, the hoops. The thing I like most about this is that it's easier to move, easier to adjust your tension top and bottom, and the fact that it's square makes it, I find there's more working space, especially when you get to the borders, because when you've got a round hoop, when you get to the borders, what I used to have to do is pin on a towel or something to extend that off, and then put my round hoop on it so I could have a decent size area to quilt before having to move on to the next bit. I find with the square one, it makes that a lot easier to get a nice working area on the border. That's one of the other reasons I liked it.
Joanne says, TV Guide says 9 a.m. Quilt As You Go and 11 a.m. paw tracks.
Oh, bless you, thank you.
And Judith says, thanks so much for the tips. I do have the same frame. Going to have another go tomorrow.
Yeah, it's one of those, it's easy to just pick up and put down, if that makes sense. And I always leave my needle in my work.
Oh yes, that we know.
Yeah. All you need, if you're going anywhere, is your needle, maybe a couple of needles in case you bend one. That's one thing with the this quilting thread, and if you use the sharps, if you go for a needle that is quite thin, which makes it easier to get through all the layers, they can bend quite easily. So I usually do go through quite a few needles when I'm hand quilting a quilt.
Joanne says, I agree with you on the working space. With the square frame, I find that I have to move it less often.
Yeah.
And Jackie says, I have a floor stand with a slot which grips a corner of the frame, so making it easier to use.
Oh, nice. Do this last lane. Now I'll show you how I finish off on the back. Actually, that was a bit big.
And Nan says, thank you for that, Emma. I'll have to invest in one. Judith asked, do you always use a metal thimble?
I do. But again, that is literally personal preference. I really like these. These are the ones I sell in the shop. I like these because the metal is relatively thin and it's quite lightweight. The fit is really nice, and I like the rim. But it is literally trial and error finding the thimble that is right for you and that fits and is comfortable and works the way you want it to work.
And Joanne has put a link to the thimbles.
Oh, bless you, thank you. I'm going to do one last stitch. It's going to be a stabby because I don't want to do too many stitches there. I just want to end with one. So I'm going to take that all the way through because that's at the end there. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but where I've tied off before, you probably can't see it. You can see the thread because it's quite a dark thread. Now you'd only see that if you're actually holding it up to the light, but in order to avoid being able to see that or it being too noticeable, I'm going to do all of this along the edge of this stitching so that it kind of blends in. So what I do to tie it off is I'm going to take about 3 or 4 stitches, and they're back stitches, and I'm literally going to catch maybe a thread or two on the fabric. So, and it's about, I'm going to do it about ½ an inch apart, and then just pull that snug. So you can see literally I'm just taking a couple of threads worth of back stitch. Make sure it's snug. One more for luck. Just like that. And then I'm going to snip it off like that. There. And that's how you tie that off. I'm going to get another length because that is quite frayed. I do have some beeswax that I could actually run this through too. I wondered how that would work. So I'm doing about an arm's worth length, and that's how much I usually do. No more than that. And I'm going to thread it. And this is the end. This is the cut end that I just cut off there. This is the end that gets the knot. Just running it in between my fingers, twisting it, pulling it back. So you've got a knot.
Joanne says her first quilt had lots of little knots on the back. Didn't look too bad as it was hidden in ditzy print.
Oh, nice. Yeah. It's just a habit I've gotten into. A lot of people don't worry too much about that, but the lady who taught me said you have to nest them. So it's just a habit. I always do it now. So now I'm going to start here. I'm going to go up and down. So I've got a nice area here that is relatively finished. So I'm going to bring it up. I've already got a stitch there, so I'm going to start a little bit further away so I've got a nice space. And I'll show you on the back what I do. So there's my knot. I'm going to pull my thread, and if it's a bit stubborn you can literally just tease it gently through. There you go. But it's nice and anchored in the middle.
Joanne says her ends are now nesting well. There are so many elements to quilting. Terry says, could you use embroidery thread for quilting?
Oh yeah, definitely. So you'd want to adjust the size of your needle and probably the size of your stitch. A lot of people do make quite much bigger stitches than I am doing at the moment, so probably.
And Jackie says, have you been to see your local dinosaur yet? I said dinosaur
no.
because I can't spell PLE.
Yeah, Michael doesn't know because he didn't want to watch it this week.
Watch what?
Digging for Britain.
I wasn't feeling well.
They found a sea dinosaur at Rutland Water.
Oh, I heard that on the news, and the sea dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that on the news. I wasn't feeling well.
No, we haven't seen it.
We have it recorded though. We'll watch it.
Yeah, we'll watch it.
Judith says the back looks very neat.
Oh, thank you.
And she's going to try that method.
But again, don't judge. I mean, I have been doing this for 25 years, so it kind of is a bit second nature. So I may be making it look a little bit easier. So if you're finding it not so easy, don't think you can't do it. It's literally just a lot of practice. But these, even if you didn't want to make it into a quilt, they make really nice cushion covers. So you could, I'll show you when I get this bit done, and then this outline. I'll give it a little press so you can see what the stitching looks like without the friction pen behind it.
I found a lot of recent things in Rutland. First the Roman mosaic, and now the sea dragon. We still don't know where the Roman mosaic is.
No, it's a secret.
Yes, it is a secret.
It's a secret.
Dawn says, I miss hand quilting. I now need a project to do.
Oh.
Jackie says, well, she gives it the actual name of the dinosaur, which I cannot pronounce, but it's the largest fossil found in the UK.
Oh, wow.
Ichthyosaur. That's how you pronounce it.
Okay. Which
or
makes
Ichthyosaur.
No, it's ick because ick is fish.
Yeah, but ICH is ish. In
It's
German,
ick.
ish by.
Yeah, but it's ick.
Ah.
In Latin.
Ichthyosaur.
In Latin.
Sorry?
In Latin, ick.
In what?
Latin.
Ah. Is that English? Excuse me. And that says, do you sell those needles?
I don't sell the crewel needles. I do sell hand quilting needles. The ones I like the best, and I do sell them, is Roxanne, but they are more for...
That's a Sting song.
Yeah. This kind of quilting thread, or this kind of quilting thread, not the thicker one. But they come in a nice little glass vial with a little seashell on the top. So I really like them because you get 30 in a little glass vial, and then because like I said, they can bend. It is so nice to have that little glass vial and just get a new fresh needle when it bends too much.
Jackie says every day is school day and Friday night with Emma.
Oh yeah.
And Joanne says it's ichthyosaur. This is how it's said in classroom.
Nice.
And also Joanne has kindly put the link for the Roxanne,
Oh, bless you.
not the
Thank
song, needle pack.
you. Roxanne.
And Joanne says she also got her needles from you, and they are fab.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I love the Roxanne ones.
I took you to see Sting. You weren't impressed. You weren't.
He didn't engage very much.
Well, he had a job to do. I appreciate that. Just get on with the job.
But no, it was a very good show. I didn't have a problem with the show itself. All I said was he didn't engage very much.
Well, we came to see him sing. He has his job to sing. He sung. That's his job. Get on, get off. I appreciate that. You know, no faffing. Let's get her done.
What time is it?
It's dark.
Dark.
Dark, cold, dark.
It is.
It's gonna freeze tonight.
But I'm going to London tomorrow.
Londinium.
Yeah, ask me why I'm going to London tomorrow.
Why are you going to? I know why, but why are you going to London tomorrow?
I'm going to go see behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes of what?
Of all the costumes that get made for Strictly Come Dancing.
Oh dear, oh dear. Excited.
It's going to be a long day. I'm not going to be home till after 7.
Joanne says it's 2042.
Oh, okay.
And Karen says, not a big fan of Sting, I must admit. And Joanne said, this is fab like a panto.
Oh. Right, I'm going to leave that there. So this tail, I will tell you, very often when I'm doing a quilt, and I'm literally just stitching in the ditch, or I'm just doing straight lines across, or I'm doing a cross hatch, what I will do is sew all of my lines. I'll have several threads, put that way, several threads following the lines, and then each one I'll just leave a tail for when I move it across, and I can just continue, rethread my needle and continue with that same thread, so that I don't have to keep getting new length, stopping, tying off, getting a new length, all of that every time I move my quilting hoop.
Dawn says, yeah, that will be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited. We may get some macarons as well. We'll be at St. Pancras, so, you know, it'd be rude not to, really.
Okay.
My quilt has never had a macaron.
I've had them. Yes, I have.
Oh, you have?
Thank you. I am, not a Neanderthal, am I? Judy says that's a good tip as well.
Yeah, it makes a straight line quilting is really easy.
Claudia says, I found a bag of Winnie pieces of fabric as they used to send out for samples. Now I'm debating to use them as tiny squares or little hexes.
Ooh.
Joanne asks, where is the exhibition?
It's at the studio. So it's a place called Angels. So it sounds like it's the actual big costume workshop.
They no longer film at Pinewood?
No, this is the costumes.
Oh.
And I don't think it's Pinewood, it's somewhere else.
Was it at Pinewood at one time? Okay. Diane says, I last hand quilted over 5 years ago, as I had a stroke 5 years ago, and at that time it was as neat as yours. I'm hand quilting now again for the first time since then.
Oh.
A 5-year-old could do better.
Oh, no.
My coordination isn't as good as it used to be, maybe after a few more years of practice.
Oops.
And Margaret says, didn't John Scott work at... Is it Angels or Engels?
Oh, Angels.
A-N-G-E-L-S.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to ask him.
Judith says, I think John Scott had something to do with Angels. And yours, sir, said, Angels, isn't that a lap dancing club? And Diane said, oh, that's where John Scott used to work.
Oh, okay. Yes, I'm quite excited. Once I finish this couple of lines, I will press it and we'll have a look. I try not to get over the lines I haven't done. I'm not doing Emma.
Oh, Caroline says Angels is where the West End shows store their costumes in case they need them in the future.
Oh, okay.
Claudia asks, are you allowed to take pictures while you're there?
There are parts of the exhibit, it does say, where you can take pictures.
So are you going to be taking pictures where you can and where you can't too, or?
No, I'll be good.
Oh, okay. All right.
I might not even, well, we'll see. I'm not a big fan of taking pictures on outings because I'd rather just enjoy the outing, but we'll see. There we go. I'll leave that there for now. Let's see. My pad underneath. Let's see if I can show you. Don't want it to steam too much where I don't want it to go. Ah. Just did what I didn't want it to do. It just steamed over all of my design. Okay.
What does that mean?
I can redo that bit. See, my marking went away. But
yeah, yes, okay.
But if you see here, you can see here here where the stitching is without the marking behind it, so you can see the stitches a little bit better.
Diana asks, would Shishiko thread be too thick?
No, I think you could do that. Again, you just need to change the size of your stitches and the size of your needle. But yeah, no, you could absolutely do that.
And Diamond says I should make sure the needle is still there later. And then says your quilting is stunning.
The only thing I will say about larger stitches is you may have to do a larger quilting design because with these feathers they may get lost a little bit. The shape of them might get a little bit lost if you have bigger stitches, especially around the curves. So just think of the design that you want to do. You may need to have a bigger design so that you have enough room to actually see the shape with those bigger stitches. But yeah, that's that bit. And I'll show you. Oh, this is one that I've started doing, the same pattern, but with this thread is it's a blue variegated, blue, green, bit of purple, and it's one of these YLI threads that I've been using. I've only got a few feathers left to do on that one. But yeah, but once you get it done, you know, I might do some cross hatching in the back to fill it out a little bit, but that's a lovely, nice front of a cushion cover.
Judith says, do you draw that design freehand? Missed the beginning notes for template.
It's a template. So.
And Joanne says, I wasn't sure if the Strictly thing was at Angels or DSI.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so this is the template that I used for the one that I did tonight and for that other one. But then I have done this one as a template as well.
And Diamond says, yep, no needle to be seen in that one.
Ha! And then this, I want to show you the quilt. Actually, this is probably the last quilt that I hand quilted, which is a little while ago now. So I'm going to show you some of the different. This is my sampler quilt that I teach class on. So I've used a stencil in the border. So this was a stencil that I marked and quilted along. But most of this, so these lines, I haven't marked it, but I did use masking tape. So this was like 1/2 inch masking tape that I just laid down. So what I did was I just laid my masking tape and lined the edge of it up against the edge of the unit, this seam here, and then stitched along the other edge. And then once that was done, then I replaced it, moved it up, stitched, replaced it, moved it up, stitched. And I literally just used masking tape to do all of these straight lines. That's a really easy way of doing cross hatching as well. So this is 1 inch masking tape that I used. This was done the same way. Let's see, what else have I got to show?
Your Sarah said that quilt you gave to Ralphie, multicolored thread, was beautiful.
Ralphie?
R-A-L-F-E.
I don't know. No, let's see.
Judith says you stock the templates.
I don't, I'm afraid. But you can find them online. I got these ones, which are a little bit bigger and elaborate. I did get from America. There's one shop, they just do templates. That's all they do. But you can get border ones for sure. I have seen border ones here in the UK and smaller.
Your Sarah said bag making woman.
Oh, yes.
Elaine says beautiful hand stitching. And Isabel says you are so talented. This is lovely.
Oh, bless you. Thank you. Let's see. What
Paula
else?
says Becky.
Yeah. Becky. Yeah. That. Yes, that.
Terry says
Hannah.
Baffa.
Yeah, Baffa. Okay, now that makes sense. Yeah, that panel that it's a pattern on the long arm that it quilts out, and I quilted it a long time ago. So I'm like, well, I don't really know what to do with this.
Joanne says it's
It
a
is
gorgeous
really
quilt.
nice. Oh, thanks. Oh yeah, so this is a bear paw. Again, I've just done lines on it. You don't have to do a lot.
Judith says her sister lived in the U.S. and she had lots, sadly not around now.
Oh, I'm sorry. So yeah, so I just had to play with different. Oh yeah, this is another one. This is literally just using the masking tape to do chevrons.
Diamond says, I've always been afraid that you can't start and stop and you must follow the lines. Thank you for showing that you can bury threads and carry on.
Oh yeah. You can bury threads. You can just leave them loose.
Jackie says, how long did it take you to do that quilt? It's gorgeous.
This one, I kind of had to have it finished for the first class that I did with it. So I did take it on holiday. I took this on holiday to Cornwall actually. I think because I was in quite a hurry.
Yes, I remember Cornwall.
Yeah, I think I quilted it in about a month. But I didn't get the borders. That's one thing I didn't do. I cheated. I spray basted the borders and then finished the binding. So one of these days I will have to, I want to do cross hatching in the border.
Is this the one with the Star Trek fabric? Oh, no, this isn't the one. Sorry. Barbara says, lovely work, Sonia.
Thank you. Yeah. So, yeah, cool, yeah, a bit cross hatching on my Drunkard's Path. Oh, yeah, which reminds me, Dawn and Barbara, you both have to finish your sampler quilt.
It's
because
funny.
This is what it can look like.
It's funny, Dawn just said that's what I can do is my sampler quilt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Judith says this has been your best Facebook Live yet. Emma, thanks so much.
Oh, bless
You're
you.
an inspiration.
Thank you.
And
You can
Marie
see on the
says
back.
you have definitely inspired her to give it another try. Thank you, Emma.
Yeah, it's I like it. This is actually the best time of year to do this, especially if you get under a quilt. So when I started this one, I literally, there's the middle, roughly the middle. So I would have started quilting it from the middle here, put my hoop in the middle, quilted this bit out, and then I incrementally move my hoop out. So I'll go top, bottom, sideways, and then I'll do the corners, and then I'll move it out again, so that you're working your way from the middle out towards the edges. And the reason you do that is so you can make sure that everything is smooth and quilted out towards the edges, basically. Not the way you normally do it on a machine at all, but that's how you hand quilt. So yeah. So thanks for joining. Glad you enjoyed all of that, and hopefully you got inspired to do a little bit. Yeah.
Judah says looks gorgeous, no creases, which I so often get machine quilting.
Oh yes, that's why I've never actually. Well, I've done one quilt on a domestic sewing machine, and that was a long time ago.
Nan says, do you baste the quilt before you started quilting?
I don't tend to. This was actually a polyester in here, not a cotton. But I find the cotton, it sticks sort of naturally, and as you move from the middle towards the edges, you smooth any of those wrinkles out. But if you really do want to baste, you can see I've done a little bit of basting on here, because I think this was for a class and I showed the ladies how to do it. You can baste with thread, so really big stitches, and in a colour that is contrasting to your quilt so you can see them, or you can pin. I wouldn't recommend spray basting for hand quilting, because you might gum up the thread and you might find it a lot harder to do. But yeah.
Hang on, there's some comments here.
Okay.
Your Sarah said I bought an overlocker. I was looking into making clothes as well.
Yay! Oh, yay!
Dawn asks, how many borders on that quilt, please?
Oh, this one is 2, so an inner border. I think this was probably 2 inches, and I think this is a 6-inch border. Yeah, it must be, because there's a 6-inch block in the corner.
Yes, and
Yeah.
Joanne says thank you for this evening. Enjoy tomorrow. Judy says thank you. Have a good night. Nan says thank you. Angela says thank you. Wonderful.
Oh,
I think I missed a few comments on when it scrolled, but I do
Okay.
apologize. But Emma will read them if there were any other questions.
Yeah. Or message me directly.
Yep.
Message Swift Quilting, or to me directly on Facebook, and I'll get back to you if you have any questions.
Your Sarah says, but a little scared to use it.
Oh, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Right. Have a good evening, everybody, and I will see you next week. Oh, I'll see you on Sunday. What am I talking about? Bye.
Good night, all.